Hi, this is Rachel, also known as Ditsy Diamond Painter, and I've got a little WIP and Waffle, and then a wicked woman, or so some people say. However, some people don't. So I'm working on Dream Big from Dreamer Designs. You'll have to excuse any background noise because there just seems to be a load. So today it's a special drill painting. You know, it's got normal drills in it, but there's a lot of ABs. So I'm using just a little fluffy pen, a little glitter in it, just a normal one because it's all got to be single placed anyway, so I don't need the. And then I'm going to be using this, the wax from there, so we'll just stick that on there. And then we're going to be using this pen to see what it's like with the ABs. And I will get the smaller tray. Oh, I didn't even notice that. You even get it on the back of the trays. I didn't even notice. So I think this was from Sugar, Spell Queen. When I ordered something from there ages ago, when they first. So yeah, so we'll try. So we have to take the plastic. Put something in it, like a bit of grit or something there. Never mind. So we'll take that off. So I just want to see how this works. So that's in. I normally try and put a couple in, to be fair. There we go. For that, and we'll pop that down there. Pop it on the chair next to me. And then we've got this one. I'll just pop it in there. And put a couple in there as well. I just fancied something to cheer me up, so I thought I'd use a pom-pom pen. Oh, sugar. I got the dropsies the past few days. Sorry if I knock you. You're going to see all my greasy hair then. Maybe not. So there we go. So I have actually kitted up because there is actually 34 colours in it. Oh, it's got 34. I've kitted them up in these individuals. There's a couple spare, but I know what they are. So yeah, trays from Add More Zest. I've had it ages. I love it. It's my favourite tray. I think that's it in the way of things to do. Maybe, should be. Oh, just pause you 1 minute because I forgot to bring my cup of tea. And I'm back. I had to have a cup of tea. I can't not have a cup of tea. So, how is everyone else? How is everyone's week? Anything new happening? Any good diamond paintings? I'm still on a no buy. So I think I'm going to start with the background, to be honest. So this blue, because it's easier for me to concentrate, which is. And again, on this kit, numbers are all over the place. They're not in order or anything. So 820. Here's the blue. And again, I suppose you could flatten these canvases for a couple of days to make them go squish. A little pom-pom. But yeah, we're not doing that. So these are all got to be done individual. They're not in a straight line, they're all wiggly. And I'm just using the wax just to experiment, and a normal tip, because my wax that I normally use yeah, like more or less I only have to top it up a couple of times. I don't know if that's going to work with this one. So yeah, I hope you've all had a good week. We've actually got some sunshine today, and it's Sunday morning. I've finished End of the Rainbow, which was lovely to do. I hope Andrew enjoys it as much, likes it, because yeah, it's lovely. And then I did another one, Bubblegum Spaniel. So, and I really just found, I still haven't ordered the drills I want to do for that unicorn for Christmas. So I want to think what diamond painting I want to do. This is it might take me longer than I thought actually, because it's all got to be singly placed on. What's going on this week? Had a couple of meltdowns. I haven't. Nicholas has had a couple of meltdowns, which actually caused me to have a meltdown, I'll be honest. Yeah, it's been dark, it's been horrible, it's been miserable, and it's made me miserable. I think I've been in a right down mood. I'm hoping that I'm getting my mojo back anyway. So sorry for any background noises, but Mr. P's got the telly on in the other room. Max is upstairs doing God knows what in his room. And Nicholas and Michael are on the PlayStations. So you could hear random shouting. I've got the door shut, but that doesn't mean anything really. They're all alright, they're all okay. They've all got over the colds and the all sorts. Oh. We're all okay. Mr. P's got his 6-month scan next Saturday. We always get a bit, especially Mr. P always gets a bit anxious when it's coming for review time. Make sure everything's stable, nothing's changed. So, all good. Trying to think if there's anything else. Not really. Like I said, been miserable, and I've been sticking to myself, and I've not spoke to anyone, or I just haven't got the energy to be bothered. So, however, I have looked into the next lady in the World's Wickedest Women book. Yeah, who knows? Her husband was a nutter, that's for sure. Well, yeah, he was. And they say he's the cause of the bloodiest war in the South America. So let's start with, sorry about the noise, next door neighbour's grandkids around by the sounds of it. Oh my life. So we are going to start with Eliza Lynch. Now what I've done is I've read what they've put in the book, and I did think about reading out what they've put in the book, because they have made this woman sound like the most horrific. Yeah, they've not been kind at all. They've not there's not even, yeah. Now, Eliza Lynch was born in Charleville, Cork, in 19th of November 1833, and her father was a doctor, a Catholic doctor, and her mother was military background, whatnot, and she wasn't Catholic. So that's the first, for 1833. So she's born, she's the oldest of, let me see, she's the oldest of three siblings. Don't know what them siblings are, just found she was the oldest of three. Her father died in 1846, and they, now I can't find if the father died in, because one article I read said that the family escaped to France because during the potato famine they managed to get to France, but then others were saying that her father died in Ireland and her mother managed to get them. So I'm not sure. I had to look into that a bit. But anyway, she ends up in Paris, and I think her mum remarried over there. I'm not sure, but they're in France. So so she's lost her dad and all the rest of it. Now it says in the book that she married, we'll just call him Xavier because I can't pronounce the surname, and he was in the military. He was some kind of medical personnel in them. So some articles said pharmacist, and some said he was a surgeon. Some said other things as well, but that's what the majority said, because I looked at various articles, and she married in 1850, and it's actually described on her wedding certificate as underage. So the theory is that most people are saying that her mother married her off. The book just says that she got married, didn't like it when she went to Algeria and come back, because it wasn't the lifestyle she was accustomed to and whatnot. Now what they're not saying is that this Xavier she was 15, some say 16, and he was 34. Which again, alarm bells, hello. So, yeah, they say that. I just hate the way the books portrayed most of these women, to be fair. They ended up, he was transferred to, no, this book just says that she came home, she just left him. No, he was horrific. He cheated on her, he abandoned her, and because he hadn't got permission by the generals of the whatever he was in, they didn't recognise her as his wife, and it wasn't recognised as a civil, because this was in Paris, in France, it wasn't recognised as a under the civil law either. She was not married to this man. Apparently he didn't treat her well, and she ends up getting quite sick, and that's when she manages to get back to her mum in Paris. And she's 18 by then, I think. It's a couple of years, and then she manages to get back to him. No, the book says she became a courtesan, and but it turns out that this was probably not true, and it was just but she did become friends with women quite high up in society, and so she would go to all these fancy, places and mingle with the rich and famous, so to speak. And she meets Solano Lopez in Paris in 1854. So apparently he was vile. He had brain rotting teeth. He apparently smelt bad. He was a bit of he wasn't great. He kind of thought himself as the South American Napoleon. His father was actually the dictator in Paraguay, and he wasn't what you call, he was very military, even though he hadn't got much experience in it. He was very military. He was she met him on a diplomatic, and military procurement mission, apparently, from Paraguay. He don't know what it was about him, but she found something interesting in him, and it said that she did love him. Well, she must have been done to put up with what she put him with. So she carries on around Europe with him on this mission sent to by his dad, and they end up going back to still in 1854, travelling separately. She's already pregnant with their first son. She it's alright, there's bits of wax coming off the pen. she had to travel separately to him while she was pregnant, and he put her up in like a villa. Now in the book it says that she wasn't happy, it was dusty, he made him provide all this other stuff, but from what I can make out, that's not true either. He did it, and even she was snubbed basically by all the upper elite society, and his own parents wouldn't acknowledge her. But I mean, he stayed with her. He didn't, you know, he lived separately from her. And then it must have been horrible going to this new country and everyone just snubbing you. So this was she followed Lopez to Asuncion in May of 1855, because she stayed alone until after the baby was born, and she was just considered a mistress. She wasn't considered anything of importance, or, you know, she was yeah, she was not nicely treated by his family or anything. So she lived in luxury in the centre of Paraguay capital and had a country estate, and she has 5 more children. Now, some say 6, some say 7. I can't work out that. The youngest child I know died of let's see if I wrote it down, because you know, you have to kind of, died as a baby anyway, it was only a couple of weeks old. Yeah, and he is on all of their birth certificates. There isn't any that he didn't claim as his. There isn't, you know, he acknowledged they were his children. They never get married, but he never marries anyone else either, so say of that what you will. And then in 1862, his father dies and he's named president of Paraguay, because like I said, dictatorship, there is no voting. And she is then kind of known as the unofficial queen of Paraguay, and some say that she made all them people that snubbed her you know, really suffer. But again, and then other people are saying that was all rumour and it was made by her enemies, because she had enemies of nearly all of the social elite and higher ups in the country. But the local people, the regular muckers, you know, the you and me's of the world, of the country, loved her apparently. She was loved by the people and hated by the higher ups. So she's probably doing something to piss someone off. I don't know what the people thought of Lopez, to be honest, because I tried to go into that and I thought, so again, where do you stop? So anyway, they had, between her and, so, you know, Lopez, they had they owned 1.5 times the size of all of Ireland, north and south, and more than that. and she was classed as the first lady, and she brought more of a European culture to the country, so stuff like opera and theatre and high dining, and all of the stuff that they didn't really have in their culture at all, fashion and all the rest of it. However, Lorenzo triggers let's get this right, Triple Alliance War, which is the bloodiest in Latin American history. Now, in this war, and it was against Brazil, Argentina and Uruguay, and Paraguay was slaughtered. He would not. Remember, he's got a Napoleon complex. He thinks he knows what he's doing. They lost 90% of their males, 50% of their females, of which some were children. They lost because the children were forced to fight. He sounds like he might be a bit of a nightmare, but I've not looked too much into him because we're on about. Now, the book implies, and a lot of people imply, that she was the one behind his. She was pushing him to do these things, apparently. However, it is questioned whether that's actually true. And she wrote in her biography that she had nothing to do with the political side of his career. She was the pretty lady on his arm, basically. And yeah, so I mean, if she is part of that, starting the whole war and responsible of but there's no proof, there's nothing I've read that makes it she said this so he did this, or none of that. I mean, she was loopy to stay with him, but what was she going to do? She was in Paraguay with nowhere else to go. And he seemed to treat her extremely well. He didn't treat her with hatred or. So anyway, during this war, she forms. Let me go back. A group of women called the Las Residentas, which was basically they went in behind the men in war, and they supplied medical and helped the men whatever way they could, and helped the wounded, and all of that. She didn't. She tried to look after the people that were fighting this quite frankly pointless war. I mean, why? Why he thought he could win was totally. He was never going to win. But then March the 1st of 1870, Battle of. I'm sorry for butchering word. Cerro Cora, or Cerro Chocora, I don't know. She loses a husband. Her husband is finally killed, which is the end of the war. Technically, Brazil won. The war was won 18 months before, from what I can make out. But because Lorenzo was still alive, and it was kind of would not give in. Brazil just wiped him out, basically. which Brazil actually apologised for using genocide, basic genocide. And her husband and her oldest son, who was only 15, is killed. The son dies in her arms, basically. They shoot him in front of her, and she ends up burying her son and Lorenzo with her own hands, not even with shovels. She buries them with her hands. Yeah. Which you must, to bury your own son, to watch him shot. Only 15. You wouldn't dream of it. I mean, he was a general at 15, this kid, His dad must have been a right nutter, to be honest. Some people call him a national hero, and so she's then arrested. She's not killed because she's classed as a British citizen. So she is sent with her and her children back to Paris, where she lives. Oh yeah, there's a bit where there's smuggling gold. While the war was happening, she was smuggling gold out of Paraguay, because I think she knew that this war was not going to end the way Lopez thought it was going to end. And yeah, she even made a claim saying that she for property that belonged to her, that was given to her by her husband and whatnot, but it was denied. Then she was allowed to go over because she was invited over by a newer president, and when she got over there, he then exiled her. Yeah, it was really weird, and she got nothing back from that. But she took all her children with her, that were alive came back, and ancestors are now part of the liaison between Ireland and Paraguay, and yeah. So, is she wicked? Well, here's a couple of facts that I found out. Because you know me, if she was so bad, because she was then, in 1980, she was dug up from Paris and then laid in the National Cemetery, and she's classed as a national heroine. She's classed as someone that the people love, and all the rest of it. And I mean, a lot of that will be political for what's going on at the site, now, then and whatnot. So, but she brought European customs and fashion and all of this lot, and the book goes on about she had these big lavish parties and blah de blah de blah, and made her out like she was some big wig, but she actually brought education for women, because there was no such thing as education for women at this time there. I mean, I wouldn't have thought it was great in England, to be honest, but there was no such thing as women going to school or being taught, or so. Oh my God, imagine. She had the first women's hospital built over there that was solely for women. What else? yeah, so she seemed to, for the women's side of things, she definitely made a difference. And it would explain why the higher ups and the elite didn't like her, wouldn't it really, if she was the one that was fighting for the little people, so to speak. So yeah, so is she wicked? I don't know. I really don't. I mean, she stayed with a man that, you know, brought a country to its knees. But Brazil's the one that seems to be the one, should I say, from what I can read, from my own assumptions. Yeah. You know, she seemed to have been a really good mum. The things like that, she was a concubine and she had loads of, you know, men. Now, with all the others, when they've said that they're a concubine that I've done, I haven't done loads, but the ones that I've done, they give you lists of men that were looking, you know, were paying to look after her, you know, enjoying her company, shall we say. Yet there's none. I've not found any that have come up with none that I can't find any, and a lot of them are saying that, you know, it was literally made up by the people, you know, the people that just didn't like her enemies. But I didn't find any proof that she was, you know. So I'm gonna need some more of that. And I really enjoyed looking into her. I mean, she survived the potato famine. Her dad died when she was young. She married, let's be honest, she married a pervert. You know, he was in his 30s and she was 15. He, you know, she survived a war. You know, that's something to be said, isn't it? I mean, she supported a man that was a complete and utter, but then she supported a man that, you know, started a war that he was never going to win, and who knows. But the people seem to love her, and the higher of society didn't, and yeah, that sparkle. So I don't know. I really don't. I don't know. I mean, I did try and go and look into this war, and but I know that Brazil actually apologised for the genocide, so I don't know how much necessarily was the deaths was caused by. I mean, there were, because he started the war more or less, but Brazil definitely finished it, that's for sure. I don't know. And again, I find it, you know, when the man does something wrong, in all of them, when the men are a bit loopy-doopy, especially for this era especially, it's kind of, the woman gets the flak for everything. It's not, it's not, you know, yeah, it was his fault. It's no, she was telling him. I'm not being funny. Unless these women are magic and, you know. But I will admit, she's the only one that's been classed as a mistress that he seems to have really had a depth of feeling for, if that makes sense. I wasn't reading things about him cheating on her, or, I mean, he could have been. They never lived together, they lived separately. I don't know if that changed once he became president, but they definitely didn't live together before. You know, she had babies die from, I think it was dysentery. You know, her son was shot dead in front of her, and she buried him with her own hands, and, you know, I know men that couldn't cope with that, you know, would have. It's a shame, really. But again, the sign of the times, I think. So she's classed as a national treasure. She was loved by the people. Now, normally it's when they're hated by the people you need to worry, really, isn't it? But no, she doesn't seem to have been. But then Lorenzo's also classed as a hero of the people, but I tried to look into a bit of how the actual people were treated, you know, before the war, but it just kept coming up with the war when I put it in, so I don't know. So there you go. That is, I haven't got a picture of her actually. She was pretty though from what I saw on the internet. I don't think I have. Eliza Lynch. No. So she was the last in the mistresses, of the world's wickedest mistresses, should we call it, because that's the book. We're now on to scandalous wives. So women who have proved monumental headaches to their husbands range from the frankly lethal to those who simply ignored the accepted code of behaviour for the day and created scandals that rocked their era. So yeah, I don't know. So we will find out. So we're on wives next. What wives have we got? So the next lady will be Violet Trefusis. So we will find out. There we go. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If there's any questions or you want me to find out anything, or that you know some facts about this that I've got wrong or anything like that, let me know. I just find it fascinating that I think some people get the flack for things that, you know, they have no control over. I don't know. So there we go. That is it for today. There's my little bit of sparkly that I've done. It's going a bit quicker than I thought actually. So thanks for watching. Please press that thumbs up if you've managed to get to the end, and I hope to speak to you soon. Bye.